As you may know, if Congress does not reach an agreement on a bill to fund the federal government on an ongoing basis by midnight tonight, April 8th, there will be an appropriations lapse and suspension of many government services. We've been working around the clock in Washington to ensure that we pass a bill that will cut spending significantly while keeping the federal government open. I'm hopeful that the House, the Senate, and the President will be able to reach an agreement that recognizes the deficit and debt crisis our country faces, reduces federal spending, and ensures that the federal government continues to serve the people of the United States. Today, right this minute, the federal government is on track to spend at least $1.4 trillion more than it will take in. The federal government is borrowing more than 40 cents of every dollar it spends. Last fall, voters sent a clear message that they wanted Congress to take responsibility for our nation's spiraling debt burden and end the culture of reckless spending in Washington. We were told to put those dollars back into the pockets of our citizens, to spend, invest, and create jobs. Under the new Republican leadership elected last November, on February 19th, the House of Representatives passed $61 billion in spending cuts through a measure called a continuing resolution, named H.R. 1, to keep funding the government for the remainder of the year. The reason we had to pass a continuing resolution is that the previous Congress did not pass a budget to begin with, as they should have. The continuing resolution, H.R. 1, was passed 48 days ago. Since then, the Senate has not passed a single bill that would keep the government running for the remainder of the fiscal year. The responsibility lies squarely in the Senate. This truly is Harry Reid's holdup. He is heading us for a government shutdown in order to hold up the American people for a few $1 billion worth of spending cuts that he simply lacks the discipline and fortitude to make. And he's holding us up at a time when families across District 19 and across the country have had to cut their own budgets severely. This defies all common sense. Yesterday, the House of Representatives passed an emergency measure to ensure the government doesn't shut down and continues operations for one more week while reducing spending by $12 billion. Virtually all of those cuts were also included in H.R. 1. And many cuts have also been proposed by the Senate or by President Obama. And again, let's take the perspective here. We're only beginning the enormous task we have to do in the face of a more than $1 trillion deficit for this year. The House Republican Conference is united behind a leadership that has repeatedly emphasized that we have no intention of shutting down the government. We're working as hard as we can to do what the American people have done in their own families. Stop spending money we don't have. It's that simple and that straightforward. And the fact is that the Senate, under Harry Reid's majority leadership, has not been able to apply the discipline that you do in your own lives. It's time for Mr. Reid to act, to follow the lead of the House, and do the responsible thing to revive our economy, create jobs, and assure a future of promise and opportunity for all Americans.